Hey guys, CJ here. Alright, so today we're gonna do machine hairstroke pattern. Okay, so now this first one that we're gonna do is spine 3. Okay, so here is the the design that we are going to do. I'm gonna teach you how to draw it first, right? And you're gonna have to be drawing this a lot, okay? Because if you can't draw to make it look good, it won't look good in person, and you can't use the machine right. So you're gonna have to be drawing a lot. Now you guys can just print this out, okay? Now the thickness here is 1 centimeter, and the eyebrow is about 6 centimeter long. So right now it's the real eyebrow size, but it is not like everyone, right? Not everyone is gonna have like 1 centimeter thick and 6 centimeter long. So this is like sort of the full brow situation, but we do need to have this space for you to learn. As you get better, you can work this on small eyebrow as well. Okay, smaller. All right, so you see the measurement right here, right? So for the upper line, starting from point 1 of the eyebrow, right? So we're gonna do the measurement 0, 2, 6, 10, and 14, and maybe 18, depending on, a person's front of the brow. Like some people have longer front brow, some people have shorter, right? So 14, 18. So basically 2 millimeter difference, right? 0 and 2, and then 4 millimeter, 4, 4, and then 4. Okay. Now for the bottom line, so we start with a 0 and then 1 millimeter. So 0, 1, and then you're gonna mark 3 and then 6. 0, 1, 3, 6 millimeter. And then you're gonna come back and then split this into half again, half again. So basically it's 0, 1, and then this is gonna be what was it, 2.2, 2.5? So basically it's 1, so 2.5, yes, 2.5. And then wait, so it's supposed to be 3 so it's 1, 2, 3. Oh, this is wrong. So it's supposed to be 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, and then 4, 1, 2, 3, and then 7. 0, 1, 4, 7, right? And then you're gonna come back and split it into half again. Okay, so 0, 1, 4, 7. Sorry, I can't count, I can't do math. Okay, so now we're gonna do on this side. Okay, all right, so front here, I'm gonna draw a line to align all the point ones of these eyebrows. Then okay, so I'm gonna do my measurements. So the bottom one, you can just pause the video and do this along. Okay, so start from 0 and then 1, and then count 1, 2, 3, which is 4 millimeter. 1, 2, 3, which is 7. Okay, so 0, 1, 4, 7. And then we're gonna split this into half as well. Okay. All right, and then on the top, start from 0, 2, 6, 10, 14. This I'm gonna do another one which is 18 as well. So to match this one I go up to 18, but sometimes you don't go all the way up to 18. Okay, so you kind of have to look at your clients kind of like natural brow growth as well. And now we are going to do spine number 3. So it's gonna go back here. Now when you do spine 3, instead of going all the way down here, you want to come up approximately 3 millimeters up, 3, 4, somewhere there. Yeah, so make sure they are the same on both sides. As long as you measure it out, you'll be fine, right? So do a little dot. Now when you do this, you don't want to go all the way to the top line. You want to kind of curve past it and stop right there where the last one on the top is. Okay, so that is spine number 3. So don't go all the way down to the very corner. Okay, all right, now I'm gonna use blue color to do my skeleton or the main stroke of the eyebrow. Okay, so now when it from 0, from the bottom right here, from the bottom here, right, I'm gonna just go up, basically a straight line, but not super duper straight. It's kind of curved off just a little bit, right? So you see this line is straight, right? I kind of curve off a little bit. So I just do like about half of that space only. However I thick the eyebrow is, I do only about half. Now from the first line, from the 1 millimeter here, gonna go up. So now when I aim, I kind of aim somewhere between the dots right here first, and then once I get to almost half, I kind of like start to curve off. So the line would be start off sort of like a straight line first, right? And then it's gonna get a little bit more, you know, curved, so soft. Now when you start practice how to start practicing drawing these lines, please do not do straight line like this or drag or try to curve with one, right? So do it like this, little dash, little bit, overlap, because that's what you're gonna be doing with your machine as well. So get used to it. Does that make sense? So little line, overlap, like so. Okay, all right, so now we are right here in the third one. Now the third one, I also aim almost somewhere around here first before I curve to the dot. Now as you can see, I start kind of drawing below the block of the eyebrow, below the shape, so that my movement is more flow. If you start from inside the shape, I find that it makes my line look kind of weird, kind of curly, too wavy, kind of. So kind of start from there. It kind of helps better. And then don't be afraid to flow past the design, the thickness of the eyebrow. Is just kind of like we draw. When you pre-draw, this is totally fine, right? Because when you actually do the machine, you don't have to go past it, right? So you can actually use your pencil or surgical marker or whatever, right, that you like to use to define the border, and then you're gonna be using only when you use the machine, you're gonna just try to stay inside the shape as much as possible. Okay. Now, if you were wondering why am I wearing gloves, you don't have to wear gloves. Right now my hands look kind of crappy right now, so I wear gloves so it doesn't look so distracting on camera. Okay, so again, I direct the line to about here first, so like that. Just, and then curve here. I direct the line about here first. Okay, now in this case, I'm gonna go all the way there as well. All right, so this is the head of the eyebrow. Okay, all right. So now, I like to do the head and then stop right there and then come and start drawing from the back of the brow, from the tail. So now I'm starting from the very corner of the brow, along the line of shape, and then kind of go out just slightly. Okay, just slightly out. And then from right here, right where the dot and the line of shape connect, so from right there, I start another line. Yeah, and then look at the spacing that you have. You kind of want to gauge to the spacing to be the same when you start a new one, approximately the same. This is something that you would have to eyeball it. You can't actually use the ruler. I suppose you can, but you know, eyeballing it would be a much better option. So I like to do kind of 3 there, and then now do another. I come back to the front, try to keep the spacing at the bottom here approximately the same, so about a 1.5 millimeters space. So now, unlike microblading, right, this one where we don't touch the spine, with machine shading we can actually pass it a little bit. And then okay, now come from the back again. So right here, I would have to make the change. Okay, so this is why I like to kind of go, you know, front and back to kind of like meet in the middle. And when you pre-draw it on the person, you should do the same. And so you can gauge the spacing better. Okay, so now we have all of the bottom strokes. Okay, now the top one. So now the top one, right? So right here is your point number 2, correct? So your first line is going to be right on the frame, and starts about here, somewhere about here is fine. Yeah, so not right from point 2, right here. So you see that where the curve kind of ends, and then this one becomes more of a straight line. So that's what you want to do, just that one straight line. However, when you draw this line, it's gonna be sort of like an S kind of shape. So it kind of swerve in the tail and right here. So as you can see, like this one that way, this one kind of that way, right? So if I go from a perfect straight line here, this is a straight line, and then I'm just gonna flick it off this way a little bit, ever so slightly, and then there's one coming in this way lightly. Okay, now the second one, you want to come from point number 2, and then again it still has this characteristic of the line where it kind of curve. So I come from here, kind of like this, or you can start somewhere in the middle as a straight line first, and then flick it off that way. And then this one kind of come this way ever so slightly. Go to point number 2. Okay, and then next one, gonna do the same thing, kind of S. And then I do this line as well, right underneath the line of shape, right? It doesn't go and touch the line of shape, but it stays under. Okay, as you can see, it makes a little X perfectly fine. Okay, unlike microblading, right? This one can cross. Okay, so now I'm gonna change it to red color so you can see easier. Now, this time I'm gonna start from the tail or the body, from the tail first into the body of the eyebrow, and then I'm gonna do the front. Now, the style that I'm teaching you right now is like the most common, the most, I would say, basic of the design or the pattern. Once you get good at this one, right? So moving as you progress in terms of your practice, then I'm gonna teach you a little bit more complicated, a little bit more you know, a better design, I guess. All right, so now from the very tail right here, so now you have this one. I'm gonna make it big so you can see, right? And then this one, you're gonna kind of start from this again, and then you're gonna flick it out like that. Okay. On this eyebrow, I'm gonna make it bigger. The lines a little bit further apart so you can, oops. Okay, right, and then this line. Okay, so the red is gonna go, the insert is gonna go from here, and then just like that. So this one, in here. Does that make sense? Okay. So now this one, start from here and kind of like get closer to the next one. You see how this one get closer to the next one? Yeah. And then this coming from here. It gets closer to the next one, like this, without touching it. Does that make sense? Okay. Sorry for my sniffly nose. Okay, I'm gonna stop it right there. Now I'm gonna go for the top. So the top one, similar to the bottom one. So we have this little S, right? So we're gonna go start from the bottom here. Okay, so right here, I can do better from like this direction. So from this, all right. So far so good? Yeah? Okay. Now, let's look at the front of the eyebrow, right? So now the front of the eyebrow, right now, we have a short one in front, like this, right? A short one in front, and then we have the second one is the long one, right? Okay. And then so what I'm gonna do is right here, between the two, the first one is just insert a single line just like that, right? So it's just floating, it doesn't touch the bottom line, doesn't touch the top line, so it just floats right in the middle. Okay, so now, so from here, it's gonna blend, connect, and overlap. Does that make sense? As you can see, it overlaps. So basically, it's like this: overlap, out, overlap, out, overlap, out. Or you can do from down here, and then overlap, and then finish. Okay, all right. So again, between the short line and the first line, so you kind of do a mini insert. Okay, kind of float there. And then this one, you're gonna do this one where you kind of merge and just like that. as you can see. So merge, 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 and this one also merge, and you see that it's cross pass. It's totally fine that when the line stay cross like that. Okay, now the next one, I'm going to use green line. So right here on the top, we're gonna do a little bit of inserts like this, single line. So super simple, just right there in that little corner right there. That's where we're gonna start from. And the slope should, in terms of the angle of the line, should be similar to the red. Yeah, so now the front is complete. Okay, I'm gonna make the blue of the main line a little bit more, a little bit darker, so you can see better. Alright, so the front is complete. Yeah. Okay, and then the body of the eyebrow. So we use the green for the front as the last step, right? So we have blue, red, green. So we have blue as the main stroke here, right? And the red as the first inserts, and then now the green. So now this very last one here, you don't actually have a lot of space, so you're not gonna do the green inserts. This one, again, depends on how much space you actually have. If you don't have it, don't do it. Keeping, when you go in and then try to insert, make it too tight, and it, instead of what look like lines, now become a big blob. So, or you can do something like this as well, if depending on the space, instead of connecting, so you can do kind of like a line just kind of float like that, depending on how much space there is. Okay, like on this side, there's a little bit of space, so I add a little bit of the green in there, right? So it really depends on how you draw, how the line end up, you know, happening, I guess, right? So now this one, so you're gonna connect from your red line, and then like that. So red line, okay, and then the green coming from, so let's look at this one first. So you have the blue, you have the red, so where the green comes from, so it kind of come from the red. So you start from the red over, 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 and then, does that make sense? Right, so start from the red. Can you also start from the blue? Yes, you can. Okay. Okay, like this part, instead of going on the red, like for example, I'm just gonna go from the blue, so it would be like this. So now we have the blue. Right, have the red coming from the blue. So now the green, instead of coming from the red, I'll come from the blue like this. Yeah, okay. This one also come from the blue. This one I'm gonna do from the red. Okay, so the bottom is pretty much done. Now the top one, now it depends. You know, some people, it will look better to keep the top kind of light and not insert too much. Okay, some people that really want it to look full, then you can do a little bit more insert. The last one here, at the just like the bottom, right? You don't want to insert too much because then it will become too packed and it doesn't look good. So I actually prefer to leave the last one, just the 2 lines there, and then I'll start from the top. I mean the second one here. So the top one, so we have the spine, yeah, and then we have the first line, kind of S a little bit. I'm gonna do a little bit big so you can see. Okay, all right, and then we have the red. And we have the red. And we have the red. Okay, then this one coming from the blue line, then go out from the blue line, up, yeah, so from the blue line up, so from the blue line, this is blue, I'm gonna define the blue line again. Then from the blue, you see the green come out, and then this one doesn't really have space, I won't do it. This one doesn't really have space, do it if I want to. I can just add another one here, just very light to make it look fluffier, you know. So it really depends on the space you have. Like this one, I just have to kind of like extend the red out or make the red a little bit more defined or a little darker, then that would be enough. Cool. So now this is, I would say, you know, the basic of the hair stroke pattern design. So notice that it gets darker right here and the line gets lighter and very faded at the end towards the edges of the shape. Yeah. So even the front here, although this right here, it might look like this bottom is very dark because we have these little markings, little dots, right? In fact, these lines in the front, it should look more like, so let's say the top part, bottom part, so it's a very light, right, nice and even like that. And then when you go over, you see, you instead of go over like all the way from down there, I'm just gonna start going over somewhere here and not all the way out, so making, you know, sort of like right here the darkest and gets lightest to the end, like that. And then when I go from the red, light right here, gets darker, 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 and a little bit, and then get light again. Yeah. Okay, all right, so this is the basic of spine 3. Okay, print this out and give it a go. Have fun.